My phone vibrated at 6:12 a.m. Once, twice, then again. I ignored it. At first, the house was quiet. Too quiet for Thanksgiving morning. No smell of coffee. No clatter from the kitchen. Just silence. Then the voicemail notification appeared. I played it. Her voice burst through the speaker like acid. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." My daughter-in-law. She didn't even bother hiding the laughter behind her words. Someone else laughed, too. A man. Then the call ended. I stared at the phone for a long time. Strange, because 2 hours earlier, I had already been awake, already standing in a hallway that didn't belong to me, already watching my wife wrapped in another man's arms, and behind them, her stepfather, leaning against the doorframe, smiling. The kind of smile you see on a man watching a fire he started himself. None of them noticed me. Not at first. They were too busy celebrating something about my job, something about today. I remember the exact moment my chest went cold. Not angry, not yet, just quiet, like a machine shutting down before it starts thinking again. Because when my daughter-in-law told me to wash dishes that morning, she thought I had nothing left. What she didn't know was that their entire empire still ran on a system only I controlled. And by the end of that day, it wouldn't run at all. The affair wasn't the worst part. People cheat. People lie. I've spent 23 years in corporate security architecture. I understand patterns. Betrayal has patterns too. But what I saw that morning wasn't just infidelity. It was strategy. The man holding my wife was Greg, my business partner. The same man who had spent 6 months insisting the company needed to modernize leadership. The same man who pushed for my removal as CTO, and the man standing behind them, smiling, Arthur, my wife's stepfather, our largest investor. The man who convinced me to merge my software infrastructure with their financial network. 3 people, 1 room, 1 secret, and apparently 1 plan. I stayed in the hallway long enough to hear it. Greg kissed her neck. Arthur chuckled. "Once he's out," Arthur said, "the board will approve the restructure." My wife laughed softly. "He'll never see it coming." That part almost made me smile. Because I already had, for weeks, little things. Strange access requests, board meetings scheduled without me, my wife's sudden interest in company equity clauses, and Greg asking questions about system redundancy, questions that didn't make sense, unless someone planned to remove me. Still, seeing them together made everything clearer, cleaner. Betrayal is easier to handle when it stops pretending to be love, so I stepped away quietly. No confrontation, no noise, just a quiet thought forming behind my ribs. Interesting, because if they planned to erase me, they clearly forgot who built the architecture they were standing. I spent the next 12 hours doing exactly what they expected. Nothing. I didn't answer calls. I didn't attend Thanksgiving. I didn't respond to messages. From the outside, I looked defeated. But inside my home office, 3 monitors glowed like surgical lights. System logs, access maps, financial permissions, everything Greg and Arthur thought they understood. I had built personally, line by line, code by code. For years they praised my work. They called it genius, reliable, bulletproof. What they never realized was something simple. A man who designs a kingdom knows where every secret door exists. I opened the master console. Their empire ran on 5 core servers: financial authorization, data storage, shareholder verification, and operational routing, all interconnected, all dependent on a root authentication protocol. Mine. I didn't sabotage anything. Not yet. I simply created a timed verification loop. Every system would request authorization from a master key, a key only my encrypted token could provide. Without it, nothing functioned. No transactions, no access, no control. The timer began at midnight. Quiet, invisible, perfect. Then my phone started vibrating. Messages from Greg, from Arthur, from my wife. None of them knew yet, but something had clearly begun failing. The final message came at 3:17 a.m. from Greg. "We need to talk." I smiled. Of course they did. Because right now, their entire company was slowly realizing the truth. Their new empire had no king. By morning, the company servers were dead, not destroyed, just locked. The board emergency call started at 8 a.m. I joined quietly. Greg looked exhausted. Arthur looked furious. My wife looked pale. The chairman spoke first. Systems are completely frozen. Greg cleared his throat. We believe this is a technical failure. I finally spoke. No. Silence. 20 faces turned toward me. Arthur's jaw tightened. What do you mean? He asked. I leaned back calmly. It's not a failure. Greg stared at me. Then his face slowly changed. Understanding, fear. You locked them, he whispered. I didn't deny it. Instead, I shared my screen. Architecture diagrams filled the call. Authorization protocols, encryption trees, my signature code. You wanted to remove me, I said quietly. Arthur slammed the desk. You're destroying your own company. I shook my head. No. I paused. I'm protecting my work. My wife finally spoke, her voice shaking. You can't do this. That was the first honest sentence she'd said in months, because she knew something Greg and Arthur had just realized. Without me, the company wasn't power. I didn't yell. I didn't insult them. Revenge works best when it's quiet. I will release system control, I said calmly. Hope flickered across Greg's face. Arthur leaned forward. Finally, he muttered. I continued. After my resignation package is approved, silence. Then I displayed the contract. My terms, full equity payout, immediate transfer of intellectual property rights, and one final clause. My wife's shares revoked due to conflict of interest. Arthur's face turned red. You planned this? I met his eyes. No. I paused. You forced it. Greg looked sick. He knew the truth. They thought they were removing the engineer, but they had accidentally triggered the failsafe built by the engineer. The board voted within minutes, not because they like me, because they had no choice. The empire needed its architect, and the architect was leaving. 3 months later, I posted a single photo online, a quiet stone villa overlooking Lake Geneva, snow resting on the mountains. Peace. My phone started ringing immediately. Unknown numbers, former colleagues, reporters, but the calls that mattered came from family. 71 missed calls. My daughter-in-law left 5 voicemails. Suddenly polite. Suddenly respectful. I never returned them. Because something strange happens after betrayal. You stop hearing voices that once mattered. I watched the sunset across the Swiss water. Silent. Still. The company still exists. But I no longer care who runs it. Because the moment I walked away, they lost the only thing that ever held their empire together. And the funny thing about empires built on betrayal, they always burn eventually. I simply made sure. I wasn't standing inside when it happened.